The courtroom floated above a dead moon, its black walls made of smooth stone from 10 worlds. This was where the Galactic Council gave orders, and where the fate of species was decided. Inside, hundreds of alien delegates sat in silence. Their faces were cold, eyes sharp, voices kept behind sealed lips. All focus was on one figure, one human standing alone in the middle of the council floor. She wore no armor, no weapon, just a simple black suit, Earth's faded crest stitched into the shoulder. Her face showed no fear, no anger, only calm. Her name wasn't spoken aloud, not anymore. To them, she was just the representative. A 6-eyed Varnak counselor spoke first, voice thick and proud. Humanity has failed to adapt. You are a danger to the peace of the stars. We do not forget your wars. We do not forget your nature. Another alien, one with glowing skin and no mouth, sent a thought into the air. You advance too quickly. You spread too far. You ask for help, then build weapons. You are unstable. The room buzzed with quiet agreement. 100 alien races all united in judgment. Earth's ambassador remained silent, her hands folded in front of her. She didn't blink. Then the vote began. One by one, alien leaders pressed their answer. The lights above their seats glowed red. Red, red. A few hesitated, but even they chose exile. Only one green light appeared. A small insectoid race, the Velek, voted to let humanity stay. But they were weak and ignored. The Grand Speaker, tall and draped in silver cloth, stood at the center podium. He lifted his long hand. Humanity is banished. You have 1 solar cycle to leave all galactic zones. Any Terran ship seen after that will be considered a threat. Still, the human did not speak. The Grand Speaker narrowed his dark eyes. Do you have any words for the council? Slowly, the woman stepped forward. Her voice was soft, but clear. You will not see us again, she said. Not until the stars belong to us. Then she turned and walked out. No one tried to stop her. No one understood what she meant. They just watched as the last human ambassador left the council chambers. Far above the courtroom, orbiting the dead moon, Earth's final fleet waited. In silence, the ships didn't fire. They didn't protest. One by one, they turned away from known space and disappeared into the darkness beyond mapped sectors. It was like they vanished from the galaxy itself. And for a while, the galaxy relaxed. Months passed. Trade routes reopened. Peace talks began again. Aliens whispered that perhaps Earth was truly gone. That maybe humanity had learned its lesson. But on the edge of space, deep beyond any navigation chart, humanity did not forget. In hidden asteroid fields and underground bases, Earth's brightest minds began working. Soldiers trained in silence. Engineers built massive machines with glowing cores. They didn't cry. They didn't shout. They prepared. And while the galaxy slept, humanity watched. Back in the council, some began to worry. Minor trade ships had gone missing. Strange signals were picked up, coded transmissions in old Terran frequencies. A mining station went dark. A patrol never returned. But when those warnings were brought to the council, the leaders simply laughed. Let ghosts chase shadows, one said. They are gone, said another. They were always too weak to last. But in the dark silence of deep space, something was moving. Something human. Asterisk, the last Terran transport ship, drifted silently through space. Its engines hummed like a whisper. Children watched stars from small round windows. Mothers spoke softly, trying to hide the fear in their eyes. Fathers sat still, holding bags of dust-covered soil, Earth's last soil. The ships weren't built for comfort. These weren't luxury vessels. They were old, tired, patched together after too many battles. but they were fast. And they were leaving. Leaving the galaxy that no longer wanted them. Above them flew Earth's final warship, the Silent Flame. Its hull was dark as the void, built not to be seen. No signal, no identification, just motion. On board the command deck, Commander Holt stood in front of a screen showing the shrinking galactic map. Blinking red zones marked systems humans were no longer allowed in. Soon, Earth would disappear from known space. Status? Holt asked quietly. Final transport clear, a young officer replied. We are no longer in Council territory. Holt nodded once. Then began Operation Silence. A low alarm sounded. Deep below, engines powered up. Hidden weapons locked. Into place. The Silent Flame wasn't just leaving. It was preparing. Every ship in the Terran fleet turned their lights off. Navigation systems went dark. They disappeared, not just from space, but from memory. On the other side of the galaxy, the Council celebrated. Earth is no longer a problem, said the speaker, smiling before a crowd of reporters. News networks broadcast victory. Peace. Achieved. Humanity leaves galactic space. Holograms played footage of Earth's last ambassador walking away. The image became a symbol weakness giving way to unity. But no one asked where the humans had gone. No one wondered why they left. So quietly, and no one noticed the secret messages moving across hidden channels. Signals sent in low frequencies. Plans shared between old Terran bases hidden inside asteroid belts. The humans were not retreating. They were moving into place. On a planet forgotten by the stars, humans landed. It had no name. The sky was red. The air tasted like metal. But it had resources. It had space. And most importantly, it was off every known star chart. They named it Forge 1. Engineers, unpacked machines larger than houses. Drones buzzed across the rocky ground, scanning for minerals. Children were kept underground while defenses were built around them. In a dark cave, a circle of scientists stood around a glowing orb. It was Earth's last quantum II project, Athena. It was the brain of the new human future. Faster than light. Smarter than any alien council. It learned war tactics in minutes. It made starship designs in seconds. One engineer, a quiet woman with a sharp gaze, looked up at the others and said, "This time, we don't build for peace. We build to last." Back in galactic space, strange things began happening. A pirate. Ship went missing near the rim. No wreckage. No signal. Gone. A small fleet patrolling a trade route found a strange object floating in space. It was a metal disc-gold Earth technology. But it wasn't transmitting. When they brought it aboard, it melted their ship's core within seconds. The survivors said nothing. They were found drifting in escape pods. All they could say was, "The humans are watching." In Forge 1's command center, Commander Holt stared at a wall of screens. Dozens of ships were under construction. New designs. Faster, sharper, stronger than anything humans had built before. Beside him, a young officer asked, "Sir, what will we do once we're ready?" Holt didn't blink. "We return." The officer hesitated. "For war?" Holt shook his head. "For everything they said we couldn't have. For the stars." And somewhere behind them, a child looked up and whispered, "Will we see Earth again?" No one answered. But deep in the planet's core, new engines came to life. Engines made not to flee. Engines made to conquer. Asterisk. The galaxy had many names for it. The Void Zone, Sector X99, or simply Dead Space. To humans, it became something else. Home. This sector had no stars, no traffic, no reason for anyone to explore it. It was dark, cold, and filled with strange radiation fields that damaged most alien ships. But not human ones. Earth's engineers had made adjustments, the kind no other race had dared to try. Here, in the silence of forgotten space, the new Terran stronghold was rising. At the heart of it stood a black station, Oblivion Prime. It was shaped like a blade, sharp and long, covered in sensor-blocking panels and energy-dampening shields. From far away, it looked like a shadow. From up close, it looked like a warning. Inside, humans worked without rest. Hundreds of workers moved through dark corridors lit by red emergency lights. Machines hissed, sparks flew, and enormous engines were being bolted into warships the size of cities. Unlike the old Earth fleet, these ships had no names, just numbers, and a single word painted across their hulls: reclaimed. In a command room deep within Oblivion Prime. The Terran High Council gathered. They weren't politicians anymore. The old days of speeches and handshakes were over. These were commanders. Engineers, scientists, and tacticians. Commander Holt stood at the center, looking at a large hologram showing the galaxy. He pointed at the blinking red zones, where Earth had once lived. "Status?" he asked. A woman tapped on her console. "Construction of the Titan-class dreadnought is 62% complete. Our AI systems have rewritten the warp core engines. We can cross council space in half the time it takes them to detect us." A quiet man with gray eyes added, "Athena AI finished simulations last night. Our new weapons will disable enemy fleets without firing a single missile." Holt nodded. "Good. We won't start a war. But if they try to stop us," he paused, his voice turning cold, "they'll lose before they understand what happened." Meanwhile, on the far edge of the sector, the Silent Flame returned from patrol. Captain Lin, the ship's new leader, walked through the hangar where cargo was being unloaded. Strange crystals, alien metals, raw elements, everything needed to feed the Psi. Growing machine Earth had become. Beside her stood a teenage boy, no older than 15. He had grease on his face and a tool belt on his waist. "Why are we building all this?" he asked. Lin looked out the hangar window, where a massive black ship slowly rose into orbit. "We were thrown out," she said quietly. "We begged. We warned. They didn't care." The boy frowned. "So we're going to destroy them?" Lin shook her head. "We're going to remind them. Remind them who we are." The boy nodded, his eyes following the black ship rising like a ghost through the stars. Elsewhere in the galaxy, strange rumors began to spread. An alien fuel station found one of its reactors dismantled, every part laid out neatly, perfectly organized. No alarms were triggered, nothing stolen. But in the center of the floor was a Terran data chip, blinking once every second. When open, it played a message. "Just checking." A council ship investigating a pirate fleet found the entire gang. Paralyzed, still breathing, unharmed, but unable to speak. In their control room, someone had written 2 words on the wall in red light. "We watch." Back at Oblivion Prime, Athena AI pulsed in the center chamber. The orb of light spun faster each day, feeding data to every human outpost. It was designing something new, something final. A plan named Reclamation Protocol. Commander Holt received the report from the AI without emotion. He looked around at the humans in the room, each one worn from months of building, training, and waiting. "It's time," he said. "We've been forgotten long enough." He raised a small device, pressed a button, and across the dark sector, massive engines flared to life. Ships unmoored. Weapons hummed. Energy shields rose. No sounds of cheering. No music. Just quiet readiness. In the void, Earth's silent fleet began to move. Not to attack. Not yet, but to arrive. The Galactic Council had grown too quiet. At first, no one noticed. The stars still sparkled. Trade ships still moved. But beneath the surface, small cracks began to show. in the quiet corners of space, things were. Disappearing. A science vessel vanished near the outer rings of Sector Vita. No distress signal, no wreckage, just silence. A refueling outpost failed to check in for 6 days. When a patrol arrived, they found everything intact, ships docked, power running, but not a single soul on board. Not one. On a wall near the control room, 3 words were burned into the metal. We are watching. Whispers spread fast. At first, officials blamed pirates, then rogue AI, then malfunctions. But traders, miners, and smugglers who moved along. The deep lanes knew better. It's the humans, they said in hushed voices. They're back. A Sarnari captain at a crowded port bar swore he saw a human battleship drift past his fleet, cloaked in shadow. It didn't fire. It didn't move fast. It just looked at us, he whispered, glass shaking in his clawed hand. Like we were insects. No one believed him, until more reports came. In the central hub of Council intelligence, alarms began to light up. Encrypted Terran signals were being picked up, barely detectable. Old Earth codes buried under layers of static. They meant nothing, but their presence alone terrified the analysts. The director of intelligence, a tall, 4-armed creature with skin like obsidian, stood in front of the screen. These codes were wiped from our records, he growled. How are they broadcasting again? No one had an answer. Then came the intercepted message. Just 6 words, repeated on every frequency for 10 seconds before going silent again. We never left. You just looked away. Panic stirred behind council doors. Delegates argued. Some demanded fleets be sent. Others begged for calm. A few still refused to believe humans had the power to return so quickly. One elder counselor spoke softly. We did not destroy them. We only exiled them, and now they may not forgive us. The Speaker of the Council, old and proud, slammed his hand down. We banished them for the safety of all. If they return, we will treat them as enemies. But even his voice shook slightly. Far from the council chambers, in an abandoned mining colony, a group of scavengers explored a silent facility. Dust floated in the air. Crates sat untouched. A strange humming sound echoed from below. In the control room, one of them found a small silver cube. He touched it. It came alive. A hologram blinked on, showing Earth's last ambassador. The same human woman who had once stood in front of the entire council. Her face was calm. Her voice was soft. You forced us into the dark. You thought silence meant surrender. But in the silence, we learned everything. The scavengers backed away as the image faded. The cube melted into vapor. Behind them, a shadow moved across. The hallway quiet, unseen. They never left that planet. Back at Oblivion Prime, the Athena AI processed billions of data points per second. Every whisper, every fear, every signal sent across the stars. Humans didn't need to send a fleet yet. They had already begun winning without firing a shot. Commander Holt watched a galactic map with flashing panic points. They know we're back, he sighed. A tactical officer grinned. They just don't know where we are. Beside them, new ships were being launched, coated in light-bending armor, completely invisible to standard sensors. They carried no nation's flag, just the Earth. Insignia, black on black. Silent, cold, terrifying. On a remote moon, a council scout squad landed to investigate a strange reading. They expected ruins, maybe smugglers. What they found was a stone monument. Carved into it with perfect precision were the names of every human colony that had been burned, silenced, or destroyed by council orders. Beneath the names was a single sentence: we remember. As the team radioed in their findings, their signal was suddenly jammed. The sky above them went dark, as a massive shadow passed over the stars. They looked up. Nothing was visible. But something was there. Then came the final message from their ship. It's them. The galaxy had grown used to peace, too used to it. Ships flew without shields. Space stations left hangar bays open. Patrols became lazy soft. After all, the humans were gone. But now, even the bravest captains hesitated before jumping to the edges of known space, because the shadows there watched back. And one day, the silence finally broke. It began on Taraxis 9, a peaceful trade station orbiting a gas giant. Thousands lived there, alien merchants, engineers, families. Business was good. No signs of war. Then, one evening, all power failed. Lights blinked off. Engines died. Gravity shut down. The station drifted, helpless. In the control tower, officers shouted, trying to reboot the systems. One reached for a signal beacon, but the console was dead. And then, a single ship appeared outside. It didn't broadcast a name. It didn't respond to messages. It simply hovered. Black hull. Sharp angles. A massive insignia barely visible. Across its body. Earth. A transmission came through. No face. Just a voice. This is not a threat. This is a reminder. We remember everything. The human ship never fired. Instead, it launched dozens of small pods into orbit. Each pod carried supplies. Food, tools, medicine. Then, in perfect silence, it turned and left. But the message was clear. Humanity had returned. On their own terms. With their own rules. News of the event spread like wildfire. Aliens across the galaxy argued over the meaning. Some said it was mercy. Others said it was a warning dressed as a gift. But every race who had voted for Earth's exile remembered something else. They remembered how humans fought, how they survived, and how they never, ever forgot a grudge. On the planet Viparian, a high-ranking council general received an unmarked package on his desk. Inside was a simple data chip. The file had one image, a photo of the general standing 20 years ago in front of a destroyed human colony 1 that no longer existed, and below it, "You will answer." The general tried to report it, but his systems had already been locked. His security failed. His personal guard vanished without a sound. 3 days later, his ship was found drifting. Empty. On the pilot's seat lay a single Earth military badge, scratched and cracked. The code on it matched a soldier declared Kier 2 decades ago. On Oblivion Prime, Commander Holt watched the reports roll in. Council panic was growing. Fleets were shifting. Trade systems were locking down. Embassies went silent. It was working. Holt turned to Athena A, eye now glowing brighter than ever, its voice calm and cold. "Fear is louder than fire," Athena said. "Let them feel both." Across the galaxy, synchronized strikes began, but not to destroy. Human shadow teams moved in silence, disabling key council weapons depots. No one was harmed. No explosions. Just deactivation. One by one, Galactic Council military outposts began losing power, weapons, and supplies without any idea how it was happening. In every case, the only thing left behind was a burned human. Phrase we never forgot. In a distant council chamber, a terrified advisor asked, "Why aren't they killing anyone?" An elder replied slowly, "Because they don't have to. They already won the first part of this war inside our minds." At a private Terran base on an ice moon, survivors from exiled human colonies gathered to watch the live feed of alien news networks. They laughed. Some cried. Children once born under alien rule watched as their people finally returned as shadows wrapped in steel. One teenage girl stood near the screen and whispered to herself, "You threw us away. Now you'll see what you left behind." She turned and walked into the simulation hall where she trained. daily to pilot Earth's newest fighter. Her call sign was simple: memory dot by now. Even alien pirates had stopped moving through unprotected sectors. Fear wasn't just in council halls anymore. It was in the streets, in the spaceports, in the silence. Because when the humans left, they had said nothing, but now their silence was louder than any scream. And across every star system, a single coded message began to repeat through the dark. We are not your enemies. We are your reflection. And we remember everything. Asterisk, the stars had always belonged to many traded, divided, claimed by treaties, signed in marble halls and golden domes. But now, as fleets scrambled and systems darkened, one quiet truth began to settle across the galaxy. The stars were no longer theirs. They belonged to the humans. Above the burned skies of Draction 3, a massive shadow broke through orbit. The alien city below came to a full stop. Traffic froze mid-air. Power stations dimmed. Citizens looked upward. No alarms, no sirens, just silence. Colossal black vessel slowly passed overhead. Its shape didn't match any known blueprint. No registration. No signal. But everyone who saw it knew that it was Terran, that it had no weapons drawn. Yet it terrified more than a fleet of destroyers. Then, from every screen and hologram across the city, a message appeared. The same woman the last Terran ambassador stood. Still, her voice calm and sharp like glass. This world is not under threat, but you will no longer ignore us. The stars belong to those who earn them, and we have paid in full. Then she disappeared. The ship never landed. It never fired. But the planet surrendered in fear. In council space, chaos erupted. Emergency meetings turned into shouting matches. High-ranking officials demanded war. But no one knew where to fire. Human ships could not be tracked. Their fleets moved like phantoms. Their systems unhackable. Their presence undeniable. They've already passed our outer rings, one general cried, and we didn't even notice. Back at Oblivion Prime, the Terran command was calm. Commander Holt stood before a fleet control interface. Hundreds of new human warships floated silently across the screen. Every one of them powered and ready. Athena AI pulsed beside him. The Council will call it invasion, she said. But it is only our return. Holt nodded. They gave us exile. We gave ourselves evolution. He turned toward the large window, looking out into the black. The void used to be empty. Now it held Earth's revenge, Earth's future, Earth's. Fleet. In the deepest part of the Council's capital station, an emergency session began. Dozens of alien leaders arrived, red-eyed, exhausted, angry. They're just showing off. One yelled. No, said an elder with a trembling hand. They're proving a point. What point? That they can walk wherever they want, and we can't stop them. Meanwhile, across neutral systems, strange things were happening. On a once-abandoned moon, a full hospital appeared overnight. Terran-built, fully stocked, no staff, just open doors. Anyone injured could walk in. No price, no guards. At a war-torn border planet, a human warship landed not to fight, but to repair broken irrigation systems and build clean water stations. Then it vanished before anyone could say, thank you. A merchant vessel caught in a pirate trap was saved by a black Terran interceptor that destroyed the attackers in under a minute. No words, no demands. Just a calm escort back to safety. The message was becoming clear. Humans were not just back to fight. They had returned to lead. On a Terran forward ship called Titan's Wake, a young pilot named Juno sat in the command chair of a stealth cruiser. She was born in exile, trained on secret ice worlds. Now she flew above the same stars that once denied her people. She smiled as the ship passed through enemy sensor nets, completely invisible. They called us dangerous, she said to herself, And they were right. Behind her, a screen lit up. Mission complete. Got another galactic gate. Disabled. Another council stronghold now blind. The road was open. Then, for the first time in decades, a message was sent directly to the council. From Earth. It was short. You judged us. You cast us out. Now, you will watch. The message ended with an image. The Terran fleet rose upon rows of dreadnoughts, destroyers, and Black Ops cruisers hovering above a council world. Not attacking. Just waiting. The stars had chosen. Asterisk. The Terran fleet hung above the skies of Veltrax, the heart of the Galactic Council. Thousands of alien eyes watched from below, expecting war. They had prepared bunkers, activated shields, called for backup fleets, but nothing came. No attack, no warning. Just stillness, and the terrifying hum of Earth's warships above their skies. In the council chambers, leaders argued over what to do. Fire on them, one shouted. They haven't fired first, said another. They don't need to, a quiet voice finally said. They're doing more damage with silence than our armies ever could. And then the screens turned on. Every planet, every city, every ship across council space. A face appeared. The same human woman from before the ambassador. The one they had exiled. The one they had forgotten. Her eyes were calm. Her words were slow. But the weight behind them was crushing. You feared. You called us monsters. But while you judged, we remembered. While you slept, we built. And while you ruled, we evolved. She stepped aside. Behind her, a massive view opened. The entire Terran fleet, stretching from horizon to horizon. You left us in the dark. Now we light the stars. Not with fire, but with purpose. And then the unexpected happened. The Terran ships lowered their weapons. Medical vessels descended. Repair drones spread to damaged council stations. Terran diplomats walked into former council halls, not as conquerors, but as builders. The galaxy held its breath. There was no demand for surrender, no forced tribute, no declaration of war. Earth didn't come to take control. It came to show who deserved it. Across 100 worlds, alien children received food from Terran bots. Villages, forgotten by the council, were gifted power grids and water systems. Pirate fleets were dismantled quietly, completely without casualties. Everywhere, one phrase was spoken again and again. We remember, but we choose better. The galaxy had expected fury, but what they received was justice, discipline, balance. And for the first time in decades, real peace began to spread not through council meetings, but through the presence of humanity. Because fear may force silence, but respect builds order. Back on Earth now, reborn. Now, quiet old generals walked among the new generation of Terrans. Children ran under skies not filled with smoke, but with stars. They had grown in the shadows, but now they walked in the light. One child looked up and asked, "Are we the rulers now?" An old woman smiled. "No, child. We're the reminder." In the final days of the Council's rule, one by one, worlds chose to follow the Terran system. Not by vote. Not by threat, but by watching and understanding. Humanity had become what they all claimed to be: wise, strong, united, and terrifyingly fair. On a quiet balcony aboard the ship Titan's Wake, Commander Holt looked out over the stars. Athena. I whispered beside him. Mission complete. A council collapses. Peace stabilizes. Humanity now stands unmatched. He didn't celebrate. He just nodded. They called us monsters, he said, almost softly. But we didn't need to prove them right. We proved them wrong. And behind him, the Earth fleet didn't roar. It didn't burn the sky. It simply turned and faded into the black because true power doesn't scream. It whispers, asterisk,